Hello and welcome. Today we're going to go over the OneDrive. This is the cloud storage location for all the documents for the main team. So the first thing you're going to do is go to your email account and find the email where I had sent the link to the OneDrive access. Click on the link and it should ask you for the password to access the files. You would have received this password in a separate email or a text message, or I would have told it to you in person. And then once you log in, it might be a good idea for you to bookmark this page and save it for easy access in the future. So you can bookmark it here. I've already got it saved, so we don't need to re-bookmark it. Looks like I may have anyway. But anyway, all right, so we're going to go through these 8 different folders in order from left to right. Starting with the clients folder. The clients folder is where you're going to store all of the transaction history or files associated with a transaction for the main team. It is a little bit redundant because the same files need to be uploaded into RSA, and we'll go over that in a different procedure. But starting with the active clients, this is a list of all of the active clients. And so I do have a template folder here, and whenever you do get a new contract, what you'll want to do is create a copy of the template folder. The template folder contains an archive folder, and inside of the archive folder we have 6 different subfolders. These 6 different subfolders are used to store the specific documents related to the transaction. I'll open up a transaction that's currently under contract and ready to close so you can see what it looks like and what documents go inside of each of these folders. All right, so let's do that. By the way, in the root of the active clients, we have a HomeSmart referral agreement that you can make a copy of and adjust if you are referring out to another agent somewhere. All right. All right, so let's go into a folder. Well, first let me tell you about the naming convention. As you can see, a lot of these start off with 5 zeros and a dash. Some of these have a 19 0 with an XX, and some of these have numbers, 19005, 19004, 19003. By the way, 19001 and 2 have already been closed. Today's date's January the 21st of 2019. So the naming convention is the first 2 numbers of the year followed by the 3 numbers of the transaction. I usually wait until we're about ready to close before I assign the last 3 digits to this name, because sometimes files get pushed back, closings get postponed, others move up, and because of that I like the order to match the closing dates. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and pick. We're gonna do this one since it's a more complete file and it's got a loan associated with it. So inside of the root folder for this client, I've got the CMAs that I've done for this client, a copy of the CMA template file that I've got, and we'll go over that and how to use that in a different tutorial, and then also the original pre-approval letter for this client. Inside the archive folder, we have the 6 templated folders, and I'm going to show you what goes into each one. So the cover folder contains the MLS report and the contact sheet. We'll go over the contact sheet and how to create it under the transaction tutorial related to CTME. All right, going back, so the contract folder contains all of the contract related documents for the transaction, such as the original offer, the counter proposal, any amendments associated with the contract, and the earnest money receipts if you have more than one. Also, I put in the pre-approval letter that was used in the offer here, so there it might not be the same as the original back in the root. Okay, and then the supporting documents. This is where all of the disclosures go and the closing instructions. Pretty straightforward. Under broker disclosures, this is where your agency agreement is going to go, your definition of working relationships, any amendments associated with your agency agreement, and the affiliated business disclosure that is required by HomeSmart on all transactions now. In the inspection folder, you will have the inspection objection, the inspection resolution, the inspection itself, and any photos or receipts associated with the inspection process of the transaction. In the title folder, you will have any preliminary commitments that were sent out throughout the process, and then the settlement statements when those come in, and then also the closing packet once it's sent to you after closing. Okay, so next we have, going back to the clients folder, you've got the closed files. In this, we've got basically once the transaction's closed and you've got all the documents associated with the transaction, including there you go. This is the packet from the title company. So including that, once that's all done, then you simply change the name of the file to make sure that the last three numbers are correct. I like to put in the total commission amount in the name. See if we can change the list here. There you go. So I like to put in a hyphen with the commission, the total commission amount with the file, and then just move it to the closed folder. And then the prospects folder contains anybody who you have done work for, research for, or anything, but doesn't have a contract. So, for instance, in the past, I've done research for this particular lead. I've done CMAs and research on different properties for this particular person. So I created a folder to house the research that I've done for these people. Usually, if they haven't transacted in a couple years, I might delete them or put them into an archive folder. You see this archive folder here. This is everybody that I've made record of doing research for that hasn't transacted, or maybe they have transacted. Like Anish did transact, but he's got his own other folders. So just hold on to this for posterity purposes. Anyhow, going back to here, we'll go to the documents folder. This is basically just miscellaneous documents. There is a blank copy of the W-9 in here, a contact list that was exported from LionDesk back when we were using LionDesk. An agreement with Zillow for the ad campaigns and things of that nature. Probably not going to really use the documents folder much at all. Under the HomeSmart folder, I've got three folders. One are logos, so let's go into that. So in the logos folder, we're associated with HomeSmart Realty Group, so I could probably just delete this folder altogether. But the three main logos that I'm going to want you to use, maybe four, are going to be this one, the team.png, the team copy.png, the team white 50, and the team white 25. Well, looking at these, probably the team PNG and the team copy PNG are probably the same file. I was thinking that one was full resolution, one was 50% resolution, and it may be. This one may be a full resolution, and this one might be a 50% resolution, not named properly. But use whichever one works best for you. But I'd like you to use these primarily, and I might put these in a separate folder at some point, just to reduce the chance of using the wrong logos. So the difference between these is the one with the white has a white background, and the PNG files have the background removed, so they'll show up as transparent backgrounds when you use them. Okay. Then we've got presentation material. You're probably not really going to use this stuff too much because everything in here has been incorporated into some of the other materials, which we'll go over when we get to the templates folder. And then text for success. This was just something that was sent out by HomeSmart back in September of 2018 with some scripts, and just haven't had a chance to go through all of this material and incorporate it into our processes. So at some point, probably going to do that, and these things won't be there once it's incorporated. Alrighty, and then we've got like the affiliated business disclosure. Through CTME, I've already created a template for you to use, which automatically puts in the seller and buyer's names. The HomeSmart referral agreement, I think we had a copy of that in another place, so there might be some redundancy here. Hopefully over time we'll get that cleaned up, and there won't be any confusion. All right. All right, images. So in this folder, I've got three different folders for different images. So I've got business-related images that you probably won't use, but they're things that I've been using and I might be using in the creation of web pages or custom content that I've just created and saved over time. Profile images, everybody will have their own folder so that they can keep their own profile pictures. I would like copies in here for me to access if I'm creating custom content on your behalf. Mine just creates or just has my logos that I've used over time. But anyway, that's what that is. And then stock images. These are images that I have either paid for or are copyright free, that we can use without fear of copyright infringement. So, like I said, these I've either paid for, they were provided by HomeSmart, or they were copyright free. Okay, going back to the main team folder, procedures. You probably found this either on a hidden page in the website, or you found it in here under the procedures folder. Under the procedures, we've got a folder for scripts. So if you're looking for scripts, you'll find it there. Anyway, so where would you have found this? So this is my first video tutorial that I'm creating, and so it'll probably go in here somewhere. There's going to be another proc full document in here that probably has this video embedded in it. Anyway, so any procedures that you're going to want, they're all in here. References. So any past appraisals that you get would go into the appraisals folder. This is useful for us to keep track of how appraisals and constants used by appraisers change over time with regard to things like air conditioners, walkout basements, stucco exteriors, and things of that nature. It also helps us to understand how different neighborhoods compare to other neighborhoods with the same type of property. So this helps us with our CMAs and our the customized CMA that I've created, and it helps me update my constants table for that. So whenever you do have a chance and you think about it, please ask for a copy of the appraisal. Uh, Maybe wait until after the transaction's over. If you're representing the buyer, just ask them to share that appraisal with you after the transaction's closed. The reason that you want to wait until after the transaction's closed is because you don't want, if the seller's side ever discovers what it appraised for and your buyer's getting a great deal, you don't want there to be any chance that you're accused of leaking that information. So just to ask for and obtain that information after closing. Books, these are books that I've read. And they're ebooks, and that if if you have any ebooks that you would love to share with the team, please do put them here under the books. How to Read Body Language is a great book. Helps you understand, you know, what people are really saying with their body language. So anyway, another great book is where is it? The Laws of Success, right here by Napoleon Hill. Uh, this is a great book. It's an absolute must read. So please do, when you have time, uh, check out this book. Anyway, and also, like I said, if there are any ebooks that you'd love to share with the team, please do share them here under books. Going back to the references folder, we've got builders. So whenever I do like a video, you know, interview with a builder or a builder rep, I put it in here. This is not exactly the same as you'll see under references. We've got builder and we've got new communities. These maybe should be under the same folder, but the difference between these is this is specific content related to either a model home or a specific builder, like we saw in with Creekstone. I had a video with their VP promoting Creekstone in I believe this was in Wolf Ranch. So anyway, that's where that content will go. If it's related specifically to a particular builder in a particular neighborhood, like these are videos of different models that this builder has. Anyway, that's where it will go. Moving down, building department codes. It's arduous and tough to read sometimes, but here are the ICC International Building Codes published in '09, which right now we're in 2019, and I believe this is still the version that Pikes Peak Regional Building Department is still using. The next edition of this came out in 2012. This is really useful. You want to be educated and understand what it is that you're looking at with regard to building codes, especially through inspection negotiations. So that's where you would find building department codes. Covenants. Anytime that you receive HOA documents or covenants for any community, please share them. Please upload them to this folder. If there's more than one document associated, please create a folder with the name of the community, and then inside of it store any of the related documents associated with that community, including HOA documents and covenants for that community. Some of these are difficult to find, and it's a good resource for us to have as a team. In the event that we have a seller who is selling in one of these communities, it gives us quick and easy access to it. Or if we have a buyer, sometimes the selling agent or the listing agent, pardon me, doesn't necessarily do the homework in advance and get this information to share with the buyer and his agent. in a timely fashion. So it's nice to have the covenants on hand. So if you do have any covenants, please share them with the team here in the covenants folder. The divorce folder, this is just divorce resources that I use in my representation of divorce clients, also my certification. So if you do have a divorcing client at some point, please know that I am a divorce certified specialist, and we can do the divorce transactions uh, in tandem, so that both the male and the female, or the both spouses, in all cases, have really feel like they have different representation. It's not really a conflict. Uh, so anyway, we can talk more about divorce and how to best handle divorce situations at some point. But this is just where the divorce documentation's kept. The FHA, these are just appraisal requirements for FHA. It's just a good document for you to just familiarize yourself with in the event that you have a listing that qualifies for FHA, so you know what might pop back up on your appraisal conditions. Also, if you're representing a buyer, these are things to look for. Uh, maybe you want to ask for some objections, uh, but you don't want the list to be too big. So familiarize yourself with the appraisal conditions that might pop up, and let the appraiser uh, point out those things, and maybe ask for other things instead on your objections. Okay, HUD documentation. This is just if there's any documentation associated with HUD foreclosures or the HUD home store or anything like that. Right now it's pretty barren, uh, but if there is anything, please share it with the team there. Lead-based paint documents. This is where you can share your lead-based paint information with the potential buyers or sellers. Helps you share the information about lead-based paint, and gives your client a resource to look at. Let's see, maps. I create a lot of maps, and in this folder you should find all the KML files with my Google Maps that I've created over time. There's a lot here, but let's see. Let's just open up one. Well, we'll go over this at another point. It's easiest to get to these through Google. So I believe if you open up a KML file, it'll open up a Google Map URL for you and take you right to that map. That's where you'll find all the maps that I've created over time. New communities. So any information that you get pertaining to any new built community, create a folder for it and put it in here. Also, if you want information about any new community, this is where you'll find it. So let's just take a look at one. So in here I've got photos that were taken, Google Map images. I did pull this off of Cordera's website, and I think this actual image is embedded into my Google Maps. Let's see what's in here. Okay, so these were downloads that I had taken off of Cordera's website to share with clients that might be interested in Cordera. So any information that you have on a community, any photos that you take of a community, this would be a great place to store it. All right, moving along, RPR. If you don't know about it, and there will be another tutorial at some point on RPR. RPR stands for Realtor Property Report or References. Not exactly sure, but anyway, it's a great resource for you to create content to help you in the future. It's if you're a member of NAR, this is free to you to use. So this looks like open house material. But great stuff, great resources, and a lot of realtors don't understand or not familiar with RPR and what resources are available to them through their NAR membership. But there's great content here. This is where you'll find it. All right, scripts. If I recall, we had another place that had scripts. So, like I said, this is the first tutorial. But any scripts that you're going to want or that we're going to be using will be under this reference scripts location. So the other place where we saw scripts, that'll probably be gone by the time you watch this tutorial. You'll find all the scripts here. And this will be refined over time. It's not going to look exactly the same, but this is where you go to find it. Circle of influence, sphere of influence. Okay, so I do have a subscription to Send Out Cards. Send Out Cards is a third-party platform that sends out greeting cards and postcards to your past clients or any other a direct mail campaign that you'd like to do. It is pretty expensive, and you will need to. You're welcome to use my subscription, but you'll just be charged for the ad spend that's created on it if it's for your sphere of influence. Um, oh, I'm sorry, I said circle of influence. SOC stands for send out cards. Sorry. Anyway. VA, any documentation that you obtain regarding to VA loans, VA appraisal conditions that might pop up, or any resources that might be useful for your VA clients, this is where they would go. So if you obtain that, please do share it with the team, and this is where it will go. All right, and then some other things. Zoning table. This is good. You might be looking at a listing and you're like, what the heck is A-35 and what's allowed there? So this zoning table will help you understand what's allowed under different zonings. So if you have a client who has horses, for instance, you can find out which zonings will allow horses. Word of caution, if you do have a client with horses, there might be covenants or HOAs that restrict equestrian. Even though it's zoned for equestrian, the covenants will supersede that or take precedence. All right, going back, templates. This is a great folder for you to be aware of. So I've got templated documents that I've created over time that you can use, and I believe no editing. You're not going to be able to edit. So what you would do is, if you need to customize this for yourself, then you would download this, edit it, and then re-upload it. There is a naming convention that I'd like you to use. For instance, the buyer's presentation. This is a team member who made a copy of the buyer's presentation. This is so mine is the original document. So you can see that my initials are at the end of it, mjm.docx. So just make a copy of this, edit it with your email address, your phone number. Try not to change the content too much, but you can, for instance, at the footer, it's got my name and my phone number. You're probably going to want to make a copy of that, edit it, and then re-upload it, changing the name so that it matches. Let's see. Oh, sorry. There we go. So anyway, just change the name by putting a hyphen in your initials after the name of the document. Anything with an LBL in front is going to be a label. I have um, half-page labels, and let's see, in the written document, I'll share what the what the make and model of these labels are. Uh, and then in person at some point, we'll probably go over, or I'll make another video of the resources that I use, file folders, labels, and things like that, and how to use them. But I do have a buyer's checklist that I print out. It's a half-page label, and I stick it on each of the, I have the manila folders, and I stick this on as soon as I have a buyer who's under contract. And this helps me just keep track of the process of the transaction. You know, it lets me know what's already been done, when it was done, what's been uploaded to the HomeSmart records, so that I just have a quick glance, and then pertinent information about the transaction, the address, the sales price, when it was under contract, when it closes, the inspection, objection, and resolution dates here, the selling agent's, or the buyer's agent, seller's agent, if it's a buyer. Yeah, I'm sorry. So you are the buyer's agent in this one. So this would be the seller's agent, their contact information. Just It's just on the top of the folder, so it's quick access. I also have clipboards that I hand out to all of my buyers. This might be something that we may be transitioning out of at some point, but it's a half-page label that you just stick onto the clipboard. This phone number is a Google Voice number, so you can feel free to use that. At some point, we're probably going to have an admin person that this Google Voice number will be routed to, and so you can leave this as is, and that will technically be the office number associated with the main team at some point. Right now, it's a Google Voice number, and it's redirected to my cell phone. Uh, you know, if we don't have an admin person, feel free to edit this and put your own phone number in there if you'd like. All right. So anyway, we should go back up to the sellers here. Inside the sellers, listing presentations are going to be in here. So it's called V3 because this is the third major revision of my listing presentation. So inside of here, you'll see all of the different bits and pieces of my listing presentation. And we can go over listing presentations in more detail in another tutorial. But all you see how these are labeled listing presentation 1 of 4, 2 of 4. Yeah, this is PDF versus Word, 2 of 4, and then 3 of 4 and 4 of 4. We'll go over how to put all this together at some point. But anyway, this is where you find all of the templates for sellers. Also, these one-offs like the PCS guide. This is for your military folks. Just a guide that I've put together for PCSing folks. Oh, I'm sorry about that. There we go. Anyway, let's go back to our templates folder. I jumped a little bit too far. And go back to list view here. There we go. Alrighty, anyway, so any templates that you need to find are in here. The CMA template is in here. It's an Excel spreadsheet. We've got the CMA for vacant land. I've also got a rental analysis here that I've created an Excel spreadsheet so that you can compare multiple offers side by side right there. Alrighty, and then finally, videos. This folder is for all of the videos that are created by me or by the team. Man, this folder is just a mess, and you probably won't need to get to it too much unless you have a listing that that is a 50% split with me, and I went out and did the listing video for it. You'll find it in here. The root file of it will be found in here. Also, the root file can be found on the YouTube channel, which I'll share with you later. That's probably the place where you're most likely to access any videos that you make is directly on my YouTube channel. But we can create a folder in here for each person, each member of the team for their own personal videos. Maybe you want to embed a video into an email or something. But really, I think the YouTube channel is probably going to be the best place for that. Just one last note with regard to the OneDrive file storage. I know I've said it earlier, but please, anytime that you want to edit anything in here, make a copy of it first. Do a save as and save it with the naming convention as described in the document that you found this video in. Thank you so much. Let me know if you have any questions.